Welcome back to Tech and Titanium. I'm Dexter Maddox, an oral and maxillofacial surgeon and the founder of IMvision Dental. Our mission is to help implant surgeons implement technology to streamline their practices. Today, we're going to dive into a very important topic, optimizing communication in your implant surgery practice using Microsoft Teams chat feature. Let's jump on the computer and get stuck into today's topic. It's one of my favorites. All right, so we're back over at the computer. Let's talk about how we can use the chat feature. So just starting off super basic, how we can start off a new chat. We just go to this icon in the top of this panel right here and then select new chat. Anyone who's in your organization is going to be available in this chat window. You can go ahead and select one of the members from your chat and then be able to start a chat with them. We'll say, hello. The other thing you can do is actually go ahead and make a group chat. So we can do just a couple folks on here and just go ahead and send them a message. If we did want to actually shout out to one of the people in the group chat, we can actually use the mention functionality. So everyone in this chat is going to pop up in this window when you press the @ sign, just like you would for your email. And then you can select a certain individual in the chat. It'll notify them specifically. You can always have individual chats with any individual in your practice, but good ways to structure them is to do a chat with everyone in the front office, do a chat with everyone in the back office, and then do a chat with everyone in that location. And if you have multiple locations, you can have multiple chats, group chats within those locations. It's a really effective way in particular of doing check-in and check-out, or just real quick communications kind of announcements, make sure everyone's on the same page. So when we get into the chat a little bit more, we can start to look at this bottom toolbar and get into some more of these advanced features that give it a little bit more structure or just make it a little bit more fun. So you can bring up a format panel. So if you wanted to bold, underline, strike things out, kind of do anything like you would in a Microsoft Word document, you have that option with this first panel, this first button here at the bottom below your chat window. The other thing we can do is apply urgency to the chat. So if it's something that's really important and we really need them to respond quickly, we can put it as important or urgent, just to put a little bit more urgency with that message. And then next thing we can look at the attachment feature. We're going to dive into this a little bit more depth in just a few minutes, but you can go ahead and put attachments there. But this is a really effective tool for using the chat feature. And then the next thing we can look at is some of these cool tools at the bottom. Loop is an example of where basically you can put in a list. It'll start a list and both people on that chat can actually simultaneously work on that list. So Chris here could actually be typing in as I'm typing if we're brainstorming together or creating a list for maybe a big upcoming surgery case that we have. Go ahead and discard that. At the bottom, next thing we have is emojis, just like you probably use on your phone all the time. You certainly have them here, even Clippy from, if you remember old Microsoft Word. But emojis are really effective tools to convey tone. You can't always convey that really effectively if you're on a computer. So I do think they're useful in a professional environment as well as just to kind of have a little bit of fun. So they have everything. You can search for any particular thing you want as well. The next thing would be adding in GIFs. So they actually have a pretty huge library of GIFs. You can search for anything that you want in here and then put a GIF into your chat. And it just kind of makes your day a little bit more fun, spices things up a little bit. Next thing is going to be stickers, another way to kind of have a little bit more fun. There's all sorts of different stickers. These are kind of more like memes. You can write your own, get creative, make things a little bit more fun. And keeping going at the bottom of all the tools on the chat, we can then look at scheduling a meeting. So say if you have a project that we need to find some time to meet to get into the details, we can always try to look for a time and ask the person on the other side of this chat if they're available to sit down for maybe a 30-minute meeting on that day. It will reference their calendars as well. So if you have their calendars in Outlook, it's easy to see kind of who's where and who's available for what. I don't really use the stream feature. I do like to use the praise feature. Sometimes we forget to to kind of give our coworkers the pat on the back that they deserve sometime. And this is a fun way to do that. You can always just send a quick thank you and go ahead and send that. And interestingly enough, you can go in and review your praise history and, you know, kind of see how often you've praised, and just make sure that they're getting some positive feedback, especially when they're doing good work. The next thing is approvals. Approvals can be a very useful tool, especially for purchase requests, just to make sure, you know, overhead's always a struggle. You know, that I think that's true for everybody, but especially with some of those purchasing requests that you can then send for approvals, or, you know, use your imagination, anything you might want approvals for, but purchasing requests is kind of the obvious one there. The last one that I use is an update. Updates are a nice way to get updates on long-term projects, but without having to have meetings all the time, because we all know how it is. It's busy. It's just hard to coordinate times, especially as the doctor, when it's tougher to do things kind of during business hours. You can request an update on a long-term project, maybe kind of a weekly update on how you're doing with your marketing push, with your public relations coordinator, or an update from your billing department with how accounts receivable is looking. And then the next thing you can do is actually go in there and record a video clip, and that video clip you can send almost like a voice memo, like a cool quick video, just to, you know, if you really need to explain something with video and in your camera. And the other thing you can actually do is go into the apps. There's tons of apps that you can add into the chat. But a really good, a cool trick you can do is to do a form, and then you can actually do a poll for, you know, finally settle the debate on what everyone wants for lunch if you're ordering out one day. So you could do this in the group chat with everybody, and then you can go ahead and preview that and then send that so that everyone can submit their vote on what the popular choice is for lunch, and so finally settle that debate. And then kind of circling back here into files, the other thing that's easy to do is you can always just drag and drop any file into the chat window here. It's going to immediately upload that file. This is a larger file, so it'll take just a second. And then all of those files are actually going to be stored in this Files tab right here, so that, you know, in the future, let's say if you forgot something or you need to reference that file again, everything's going to be listed right there, nice and neat and organized right here in this Files tab. So if you need it in the future, it's right there at your fingertips. So yeah, that's everything for the chat feature. So a lot of cool tools here. So yeah, play with it. And that's it for today's video. I hope you can use some of these tips and tricks to help optimize communication within your practice. Remember, the best way to master these features is just to start using them. So don't hesitate to dive in, play around, and have a little fun. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your colleagues. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our channel to stay updated on the latest dental technology and innovation. Until next time, this is Dexter Maddox from IMvision Dental signing off. Keep innovating.